Bone apple teeth, man.
All right, so before this video gets started, I do want to mention that we just restocked on our hats, the white camo, the blue fade, as well as the red fade. And this may be the very last time that we drop this type of hat. So once these are gone, that is it. And also we got our very first Goon Squad aviation t-shirts, as you can tell on the front there. And we got our R22 on the back. These are super fire. So if you guys want to help support your boys, definitely be sure to visit goonzquad.com. But as of right now, let's get this video rolling.
Look at that sucker right there. We had to use that whole entire thing throughout the whole entire thing.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna continue working on our Robinson R22 helicopter. And as you guys seen in the previous video, we started tearing into this thing, just basically ripping it apart. And we started with the interior here and we got most of it already gutted. The seats, the headliner, the carpet. It's starting to look pretty dang crazy in there, but you know what? There is still a good bit more to go. And as for the exterior, we removed both of these tanks and a bunch of these outer panels, and we're making sure that we're stacking everything nicely on those shelves and marking and labeling it, just making sure everything is organized properly. But basically how this helicopter overhaul is gonna go is we're gonna go ahead and remove the major components and send them off to the factory. And then we're actually gonna order the overhaul kit, which is gonna take a couple of weeks. So we are gonna be doing a lot of waiting, which means we are gonna bring in some other awesome builds. And as for the Trackhawk, we've seen those comments, so we're actually gonna bring a video on that here real soon and maybe even do a price breakdown on that. So we're super excited about that video. But in the meantime, we are gonna move on to the next step, which is actually removing this transmission right here. This piece is gonna be a little bit more complex, but you know what? I think we can take care of it. So let's just go ahead, grab some tools, and just dive right in. All right, guys, so check this out. We are already removing a bunch of components here on this transmission. We removed a bunch of brackets and connecting rods, and we went ahead and loosened these suckers up. So this thing is already completely disassembled up top. All we have to do is just take this one bracket off this shaft and 4 bolts all the way around this thing and a few wires here and there. And dude, we'll probably pull the forklift in here and just raise this sucker right up, right? Exactly, and after we lift it up, we're probably gonna have to build some sort of stand or some sort of bracket to set this transmission on, because that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, you can't just set this thing down on anything, especially because there's like fins at the bottom and stuff like that. You don't want none of that stuff to break. And this is a very, very expensive piece, so we just wanna be very careful with it. So we'll probably actually find some metal around the house or some wood and build like some kind of custom bracket. You know, all we have to do is first pull this sucker off. That way we can measure all those holes and build something super similar to it.
This is so awesome, dude. I don't even know how we're able to fathom what we're doing right now.
Man,
we're working on the helicopter.
Yeah, I know, working on a helicopter inside the Goon Squad garage. We're using a bunch of our brain up. You know, we're using a bunch of brain energy right now. All this thinking and trying to figure out how all this stuff works.
It makes you hungry, don't it?
Makes me hungry. You know, my brain is right now super hungry, as well as my stomach, but
But you know what? We do got to keep moving here, so we're probably gonna go get something healthy to eat, right?
Yeah, the best thing to do is eat healthy while you're, you know, trying to, you know, study all this stuff, or like just like when you're going to school or something. You know, you want to stay healthy, eat healthy. That way you can, you know, store more stuff in your brain. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to look at it. I guess we're gonna probably fire up the grocery getter, right?
Hey, the Hawk. We need to fire that Hawk up and go and see if we can find some healthy food.
is clean, dude.
This thing is just spotless, dude. I can't wait to actually throw the wheels on here and make this thing even sound a little bit better. But dude, we may even do that in the next video.
I think that's gonna be in Sunday's video for sure, man. Because
and probably do a price. Definitely gonna do a price.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. You know what I mean?
Well.
That's something that we like to do with, especially something like this where we spent a lot of money on parts. So I think it's gonna be pretty dang epic.
Oh yeah, and the dealership called us and said everything was here, which is a good thing. You know.
So we're gonna finish this sucker up 100%, and then that's gonna be probably it for it. You're just gonna see us whipping it around to the grocery store.
Maybe a few videos here and there, but as right now, let's load these suckers up and head back to the house. Bone apple teeth, man. Check this out, guys. So we got some healthy chicken, 2 different seasonings of some shrimp that we just skilleted up on the skillet. And we got, of course, our vegetables. Got some red peppers there. We got a little bit of like meat rolls or whatever you call these little suckers, little tacos.
Those are just like some chicken wraps right there, but I really don't know how healthy all this stuff is, but I think it'll do the trick.
Hey, and we came out with a little bit of sweets. You don't blame us. I mean, that's just, we went in there hungry and we came out there full of extra stuff.
A little bit of some chocolate cake or something like that.
And, you know, you gotta hit the sweet spot sometimes.
Exactly, but I think this will do the trick for now. We're gonna eat up and I guess get back to work.
Let's do it.
All right, so check this out, guys. We finally got that transmission removed, and it was just on 4 bolts. We did have to, of course, remove that rod right there, but pretty dang simple there too, right?
Hey, we thought we would need the forklift, but ended up, we picked it up one time. We're like, dang, this thing's actually pretty dang light. So we ended up just both of us hoisting that.
3 of us, we got
3 of us, yeah.
here.
We hoisted it up and we hung it up right there for now while Pomps is making us a custom bracket to put it down. That way we can remove, because we're gonna have to remove all the stuff at the top, right?
Yeah, we got to remove a lot of the top. I think there's like a hub and a few other little things that we're actually have. I wonder if we have to ship off the whole entire transmission. I think we do.
I think we just shipped that whole entire thing up with the tube. It's just the top part, I believe, just stays or something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. You know, we're still new to the game. We're still learning a lot of this, but you know what? It's just so fun, you know?
This is crazy, dude, how everything, the whole engine and transmission and all that, and the clutch and all that stuff is actually on a roll cage basically back here. You know what? Because this is just thin, flimsy stuff right here.
Super thin, but you know, it has to be super lightweight because it's got to get airlifted.
Fly, man. You gotta fly in there, which is pretty awesome. But dude,
I wonder if we got to remove these rods. I think we may get new like bearings on the top there. You got some, what are these called? Heim joints.
Yeah, some nice little heim joints.
I mean, that's pretty much it for right now, I guess, until we build that little bracket for that transmission.
Yep.
And then we're gonna move on to something else.
Let's do it.
Dang, son, now that's what I'm talking about right
Hey,
there.
that's what you call a custom R22 transmission mount that Pops hooked us up with. It's made out of some metal, some wood. It's all bolted and screwed down together. And I gotta say, this thing is pretty dang stout, right?
It's not going anywhere, and I think that's exactly how we'll ship it out, right?
Yeah, we're gonna probably just saran wrap this whole entire thing, probably slap a shipping label on it and send it its way. But before we do that, there's still a few more things that we need to do to it, so we are not done just yet. Up top here, we actually gotta remove all this stuff off of this drive shaft right here, like this main rotor hub, this cord arm, which I believe just splits in half, and that's that, and this stuff should be easy as well. And once that's completely removed, I believe this transmission is gonna be ready to get shipped out and fully rebuilt.
All right, so there you have it, guys. We finally got our transmission completely torn apart. This is exactly how you want to ship it out to the factory to get rebuilt. Honestly, I'm not sure if we're actually going to turn this sucker in as a core and they'll send us a brand new one, or they're going to rebuild this individual one right here, but I guess we'll just have to find out later. It did get super late on us, so that's probably all that we're going to do for today, but we did get some huge things accomplished. We got a transmission out of a helicopter, which is super crazy, but as right now, we're just going to continue tomorrow in the morning.
All right, so it is the next day here. We're just gonna keep moving right along with the rear end of this helicopter here. The next thing that we're gonna do is actually try to remove some of these major components around this engine, exposing it, because that's gonna be our next major task, is pull this engine out of the helicopter and just getting it ready to be shipped off along with the rest of the parts that are gonna be getting rebuilt. So what we're gonna start with is actually try to remove this upper and lower fan scroll or fan shroud, whatever you wanna call it, just so we can expose this fan wheel assembly, try to remove that big nut and everything else. And I believe that sucker is gonna need to get pulled out of there. So once that pops off, we're probably gonna hop up top here, remove this shaft, you know, this pulley, and I believe we're cutting the belts off, right?
Oh yeah, we are getting brand new belts, so we'll just snip those, and I think that stuff will just be able to get removed. But dude, this basically looks like a big old turbo to be honest with you.
Hey, this thing, it has to cool this engine out because this is an air-cooled engine, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You do got a big old fan up top blowing down, fan all around this thing.
Does this actually blow in or suck out or whatever?
I don't know if it's an intake or outtake, but this sucker is like, it's like a big shroud surrounding even the cylinder heads over here, which is crazy, dude. So it cools everything down. It has a little oil cooler right there, which is pretty cool. And check that out. You can open it up and the oil cooler's in there as well. So I just say, let's just keep moving with this thing. Try to remove all these bolts, get the shroud off of here, and then we're gonna try to see if we can get this fan wheel off.
Look at that, dude. What is that apparatus right there, man?
That's something that I honestly do not know what this is, but it has like some kind of like bunches of different types of metals and switches and all types of stuff. I believe whenever this thing gets hot or something, these things expand and which hit these little buttons and something happens. I don't know.
We're gonna find out about that, but that pulley got popped off. Everything over here got popped off, as well as those belts. We didn't have to cut them. We just removed everything that was trapping it, right?
Popped right off. As for this fan scroll thing over here, that was actually pretty dang difficult because it literally had like over 100 little screws and nuts on it. We even had to use, where's that little tiny tool?
Where's that little tool? It's so tiny, we lost it.
Look at that sucker right there. We had to use that whole entire thing throughout the whole entire thing. We went ahead and unbolted. There was some very difficult ones behind there, but we got to them. And dude, check that out. Open those suckers up. You see those cylinder heads? That's like airplane stuff right there.
Exactly. It has a bunch of fins, and that is because this is air cooled, of course, and it needs that cooling. But look at that, you got some filth up in here, so this sucker is definitely ready for an overhaul for sure.
Yeah, so what are we doing next? Do you want to try to actually pull this little,
I think this is the clutch right here.
Yeah, I believe it's the clutch. I don't really know the technical term. I mean,
this may actually require a special puller to pull off, but we're gonna give it a shot, I guess.
Yeah, definitely gonna give it a shot. If not, then we're gonna actually jump down to the exhaust over here. As you can tell, dude, look at that oil that's just been burning, man. This thing is due for an overhaul.
And that's exactly where we come in. We're gonna make this look brand new, but there is a few things that we do gotta unbolt on that exhaust, right? The heater runs through it, right?
We gotta undo the rubber hoses that run to it, which is pretty crazy. I can't wait to see how that works. And then we're just gonna unbolt it off the heads and should be able to pop the exhaust off. But before we do that, let's go ahead and give it a shot to see if we can get this off.
All right, so check that out, guys. We finally got our pulley clutch assembly completely removed, and it definitely opened up that engine a lot more. And check that sucker out right there, dude.
That is the smallest engine block I've ever seen, and it's kind of rounded a little bit.
Almost looks like a differential, and this right here almost looks like a wheel hub or where you'd put your drive shaft. Or
hey, put a drive shaft. Dude, I wonder if people swap these things in anything, you know what I mean?
Put it in a boat or something like that.
Man, no more LS swap nowadays. Lycoming swap,
Lycoming four-cylinder. I wonder how much horsepower this thing produces, dude.
I really don't know.
It probably don't produce much. It really doesn't need much. That transmission is what really matters.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm trying to see how much compression.
Oh, that thing is probably
that thing.
tough.
But that is pretty much it for the top end over here. We got everything just cleaned out. The next thing that we're gonna do is actually drop down over here, disconnect a couple hoses to the exhaust, unscrew a couple bolts, and this exhaust should come out in no time. All right, so we finally got that exhaust out, and it was super easy to remove. And I believe we found out how the heating mechanism works for the cabin there. So pretty much the fan just blows in and out through this extra canister around the exhaust itself. And that just blows on your toes and keeps you warm in the winter time. So that is pretty dang neat, but that is pretty much all that we're gonna do for the helicopter today. We were hoping to actually get at some of those avionics, but we kind of ran out of time. That'll probably be in the next video along with this engine removal, which that's gonna be absolutely epic. But with all that being said, guys, make sure your post notifications are on so you don't miss out on anything. And also, if you want an inside scoop before YouTube, definitely give us a follow on Instagram at goonzquad. And I do want to mention that we got some brand new t-shirts. This time you got goonzquad Aviation on that front pocket, as well as an R22 on the back. These are super epic, and there's not very many of them. So if you guys want to help support your boys, be sure to visit goonzquad.com and copy one. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Be sure to drop your comments and thoughts down below, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.